Hello and welcome to Coaster Strike. My name is Tom, and this is episode 2 of Let's Build a Mini Park in Planet Coaster Console Edition. I'm starting off by just finishing off some details in this second shop that we built last episode, which you can go and watch. I'll leave a card in the top right, in which we built 2 shops and a little plaza area, and which we'll be expanding on today. In this episode, be sure to stay watching because we'll build a brand new coaster, as well as expanding the paths and adding a Ferris Wheel. It'll be lots of fun, and I hope you'll join me. I've started off by just putting in a concrete floor on the inside of this shop, and putting walls behind all of the shops, because at the moment you can see into the alcoves, and it doesn't look great, because there's no definition between them. Then, there were bits of paths sticking out, so I'm covering them up with bushes and plants to make it look more natural. Only problem is that you can see the bushes and plants from inside, which I'll fix in a sec. So now I'm going to expand the paths out a decent amount, because obviously at the moment we've only got the entry plaza and we want this to be an entire section of the park. As I said before, it's going to be a modern theme with deciduous nature and quite realistic everything. I'm basically trying to make it as realistic as I can. So to start off, we're placing in this wonderful Ferris wheel, which you're going to be able to see from basically anywhere in the park. It is massive. Change the paths, and I'll build the queue. I just want to say, by the way, in the last episode, I accidentally called it Springfield. I have literally no idea why. I mean, I've never heard of Springfield, but when I googled it, it's already a city built in city skylines. I'll leave a link down to the episode, the first episode, to that. Even though, yeah, I mean, I obviously won't be calling it Springfield, but be sure to leave your ideas for names for the park down in the comments below. As I said in the last episode, I'd love to have this as a community park where you can build blueprints for shops and facilities, or anything really, put them onto the Steam Workshop, and then I'll download them and put them into the park, and then every video you'll be able to look at them and think, hey, I built that, that's pretty cool. So I'm now adding some trees around the area of the paths, because I want it to look natural, sort of like you've just put it, not in the middle of a forest, but an area with lots of nature. And I'm now adding bushes. You'll see in a sec, I kind of went a bit crazy with the bushes. As you can see here, I'm going at quite high speed. This is only 5 times the speed. It's a good way to get natural looking bushes quite fast, but it's also pretty insane. You basically just fly around your park randomly, spamming RB or R1 on PlayStation to rotate it, and then occasionally you press A to place it. And you do get quite randomized bush placement, but yeah, it does look a bit crazy on high speed cam. I want to apologise if anything looks a bit sharp and snappy. It's surprisingly hard to build when you know it's going to be time-lapse, because you've got to try and keep the camera as still as you can, but when you're doing something like this, which requires moving all over the park, you can't really do that. Okay, so now I'm building the sign for the park and possibly for the coaster. It's got these concrete pillars because, again, it's like a modern... I'm really bad at describing the style that I'm going for. Like, I know what I want in my head, but I cannot say it. It's like a modern concrete and glass, sort of like city buildings. It's really hard to describe, but you'll see what I mean from looking at the shops and this sign and the nature in the park. So I've got a nice big welcome to, and I changed the colours to this. I really like it. It's got like a sort of gradient white and grey background, and then these teal and blue letters. And I made the rookie mistake of placing the sign upside down, but then I made the rookie mistake of doing it twice. As you can see, this sign is upside down. Sort of embarrassing. But yeah, of course this hasn't got a name at the moment, so again, be sure to go down to the comments and write any name ideas or suggestions down below. And if you've got the winning name, the one that we choose, then I don't know, if you want me to plug your channel or something to my all my 22 subscribers as of speaking, then I'll be sure to do so. Yeah. So now that we've done that, you know what time it is. It's coaster building time. So I was looking for the American arrow, and I had presumed it would be right at the top because obviously American arrow, 2 A's. But because it's the American arrow, it's with the T's, which is quite confusing. So try not to fall for that. I feel like they should probably change that, even though it is technically correct. It just feels like something which should be an A. But I'll go through the layout when we ride it later in the video. But it's not too crazy. It's a looper, so it's not a hyper. It's about 150 feet, I believe, going in through the Ferris Wheel, which sort of looks like the sort of thing that you build in like Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 when you give a kid the controller. But yeah, it does look sophisticated. I don't know. At this point, I realised that I had disable collisions off, which is sort of annoying when you're building a park. If you don't know, then you can put on disable collisions, which means that, like, you can build anything inside stuff, which was one of the limits in other, like, theme park simulation games. You had this meter-wide box around any coaster tracks, which meant that you couldn't build the track until you moved the terrain or the scenery out of the way. And then you didn't know where to move it because you didn't know where the track was going to be, and it was just really confusing and annoying. But yeah, I mean, this game is fantastic. It's the best update on a game ever, like, improvement-wise, because you've removed the grid, which you had in old games like everything, paths, rides, coasters, shops, everything had to be on a grid. And now, okay, so... Sorry, I keep on rambling, but we're now going to watch the POV of the coaster. This is before I've smoothed it out, so don't expect some lovely coaster. Although it is an aerodynamics coaster, so it wouldn't be that smooth in real life. But I'll talk you through the layout. So you've got this little track taking you from the station to the chain lift with the drive tyres, and then a decently fast chain lift up 150 feet. Which then takes you through this magnificent Ferris wheel. I might change the colours of it in the future, but that's the case with all of it, because red track, I don't know, it's not my favourite colour. So you've got a nice steep drop which takes you down to the ground. You have an overbank turn. This definitely does need some smoothing. And if you notice anything that I don't, then be sure to point it out. Then you go into your first loop, which, like, for a handmade one, this is pretty good. Haven't smoothed it out at all. And you go into Little Bunny Hill, into the second loop. Then you cross over the track in a large turn. Go over another bunny hill with a turn. And then a turn. And then a turn. I mean, that is coasters really. Especially aerodynamics ones. But so you've got it, just lots of gradual hills and turns, which take you back into the station, which, yeah, I'm quite happy with the layout. It obviously needs some smoothing and changes here and there, but I hope you've enjoyed. We'll end with a little walkthrough of the park so far, showcasing everything we've done. But until then, until the next episode, I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you all next time.